introduce yourself and everyone else, and acknowledge the community.
Okay, I'm admitting people.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome,
Morning,
welcome to Wake Up
family.
Everybody. Day number 408. Wow. Wow. And Savannah, I heard your voice. Go ahead, take it away.
Good morning, greetings, family. So good to see everybody coming in, flowing in. Get yourself settled, get your water, get a notebook if you're a note taker, just get comfy. Good to see y'all. Good morning, Michelle, Terry, Adam, Candace, Denise. Good morning, Jacqueline, Keisha. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Good morning, Facebook community. Greetings, all.
So, Nicholas Quazzy, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm just looking at all the faces. I'm just happy to see the names and the faces. Good morning to everybody that's coming in.
Good
It's
morning.
nice to see the tribe here, see uh, familiar names, familiar faces,
Morning, Della.
good words. Good morning, everybody coming in. Make sure y'all have your notebook today. Make sure you got some water for yourself today. Make sure you take some deep breaths today. We're in for a very full conversation today. So as you come in, just make sure you feel grounded. We're going to continue to keep grounding, but we got a full plate today. So good morning, Grand Rising. Let's get into it.
Right. Peace and love, family. Grand Rising and welcome. Grateful for you being present today and, bringing all of yourself, right? And bringing your affirmative qualities and the gifts that you all bear, and as well as bringing your shadows so that we can do this dance between the light and our shadows and continue to fuel our missions, and continue to be able to contribute our gifts to community. Saying welcome, Facebook family, tuning in. Excited for you being present here today, right? And we're ready to get it on.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together.
Alrighty, family. Once again, welcome to the Wake Up Everybody virtual community, day number 408. We are fired up to share this powerful message with you today. So we ask that you grab pen and paper, but most importantly, bring your minds, your bodies, your spirits fully to the conversation. This is Coach Shawnee, and I'm about to put our slide up so that I can pass it over to my awesome sister, and mentor and mentee, Sevonna Brown. So Sevonna, you ready to take it away?
Greetings. Yes, Shawnee, thank you so much. And welcome, community, to this space. Welcome to your home, right? Get comfortable and make yourself at home in this conversation. We're gonna go deep today, y'all. So just be prepared for that. You chose the right place to be this morning, and we just wanna welcome you and greet you. And I wanted to just set the tone for those of you in Zoom, for those of you out in Facebook, for what we're gonna be talking about today. The title of our conversation is Ritual Release and Repair. We're having a sacred conversation about restoring the heart after collective hurt and trauma. And as I welcome you into this conversation, I'm holding you tender, and I'm asking you to hold each other and yourselves tender. We're going to be talking deeply about white supremacy culture. We're going to be talking about patriarchy and misogyny and sexism, and some of those words like come out like womp, 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 like what does that even mean, right? And so we're going to be unpacking those terms and unpacking what those terms mean to us and how they land on us or how they don't land on us. We're going to be talking about individual and collective trauma. We're going to be explicitly speaking about oppression and pain and what that has meant for our communities. We're going to look at toxic masculinity, what feeds it, what nurtures it, how Black people, Black bodies over time have navigated, as Kamau said earlier, our shadows, right? And even our lighter selves, our origins, intergenerational and collective trauma. And so this is a space for us to reflect. It's also a space for us to be in ritual and collective honoring of ourselves and things that have happened to our people and happened to us as individuals. And also to release pain, right? Release burdens, release loads, and engage in conversations about repair, and also start to like touch repair today. So thank you for joining us this morning. We're so grateful to each of you. Welcome to those who are still flowing in, who are still coming in and joining us. Aquaba, welcome to this village as we gather and as we greet and meet with one another. I want to engage us in a process which many of you are familiar with, which is our request for permission to begin. So if I can ask for the eldest in our village today, both from the Facebook community and those who are in Zoom, if there's anyone over the age of 30, put it in the chat, say I am. And if you're over the age of 40, put it in the chat, say I am. If you're over the age of 50, put it in the chat. Say I am. All right, I see Michelle declaring specifically. If you're over the age of 60, put it in the chat, say I am. Over the age of 60. All right, I see you, Jacqueline. If you're over the age of 61, say I am over 61, or put your age in the chat. Okay, Denise, I see 63. If you're over 66, whoever's on the LG Stylo 4 is over 66. Do I have anybody over the age of 66? From
Like
Facebook, here from the community as well in Zoom. Come on, Woo family. Any of my elders over the age of 66, say I am. And if you're in Facebook, I'm sure somebody will let me know. I'll just hold for just a moment, just in case. Okay. So I think LG Silo 4, over the age of 66. If you can just grant us permission to begin, give us permission to, and your blessing to have this conversation, to engage in this conversation, to be in ritual release and repair with each other. If you can come off of mute and share, yes, we have permission to begin. And if you're not able to come off of mute, to share it in the chat, that this community has permission from the elder chorus to start this conversation. And I see you, Jim, MC Bean L as well in Facebook community. Oh, over the age of 56, Jim. Jim, if you can give us permission to begin from Facebook, our Facebook community, we have someone over the age of 66. And if you can declare your age, in case there are others in the wings who are older.
I am Theodora and I am 76.
Theodora is 76. I knew there was someone out there. Is anyone over the age of 76 over Theodora's age? Yes, Kamau, salute to our elders. Thank you, Theodora, for coming off of mute and sharing. And I'll just pause again, because just in case, and then if not, Theodora, I'll ask your permission.
You have my permission to begin.
Ashe, thank you. All right, so with that, we have permission, we collectively have permission to begin to engage in this conversation and engage in this process with one another. And we're going to turn now to my brother Kamau, who is going to share with us an elemental clearing to ground us, to land us in this space, to land us in our bodies and who we are, and how we are connected to the broader planet, so that we can fully immerse ourselves with full presence in this process. So Kamau, I'll turn it over to you to kick us off into the elemental clearing now.
Thank you, Sister Sevonna. And once again, family, welcome. And this is the time now to get into your heart space and be in your body, as we all are a part of the natural elemental forces that govern the universe. And when we're in a situation that we experience, whether that is, again, acknowledging the gift that we are, but also dealing with trauma that sometimes goes beyond our human comprehension. It's really significant and important to be able to tap into the reflections of the divine in nature as a process of being able to release and to restore. So as we go through the elements and invite the elements to be activated within us and to be a part of our conversation today, we're given an opportunity for some clearing to take place, that which you would like to venerate, expand, and grow through the elements, as well as that which you would desire to release and transform to a higher possibility of our divine calling. So let's first start off with acknowledging the fire and being able to, again, revere the gifts that we are, all the things that we desire within our own lives, recognition of the journey that we've been on and the contributions that we've made, and then also recognizing that which stands between our greatest good, right? Allowing the fire to be able to consume that which no longer serves us as an individual as well as community. Feel free to place anything into the chat that you would like to expand, elevate, and grow, as well as that which you choose to release. Thank you, fire element that's within us, and help us to guide us through our conversations today. We call on the element of water, that which purifies, cleanses, helps to bring peace and reconciliation into our lives. Call on our water to be able to release any of the toxic memories, pain, trauma, emotions, spiritual attachments. And we call on the water to be able to allow us to flow in life, within our life path, with the ability to be able to overcome, to be able to elevate ourselves, and to be able to activate the divine intelligences that live within us. Request the water as a cleansing of detrimental things that prevent us from manifesting our true and most authentic selves. Thank the water element to be a part of our conversation today. We call on the power of the earth element. We call on Mother Earth to ground us and to guide us in our path to community and our true home. Visualizing what we see as our true and our most authentic space of home. We ask the earth to absorb any of the toxicity that lives in us, conscious and unconscious. We ask the earth's pulsation to realign us to our own natural pulse, our own natural rhythm. We call on the earth to be able to center us in our conversation. So if you choose the earth element to be able to release and restore, again, you may put that within the chat, because many of us have a dominant element within the earth. Thank the earth for helping us to transform to our greatest expression of love. Now call on the element of mineral. Great mineral energy helping us to restore our bone memory. In this tradition is that the bone tells our narrative and our full story. We're looking to activate our intelligences within our mineral energy within us, helping us to remember our divine assignment and helping us to use some of those things when we are lost within our divine assignment to recognize those as trials and thresholds to pass through. Thank the mineral power and element in helping us to remember today. As we go through some of our traumatic, painful narratives, help us to remember that which we have come to do and help to heal those dynamics that exist. Lastly, we call on the power of nature, right? The trees, the plants, the forests. We call on this element of nature today to open ourselves up for transformation, to tap into the divine intelligence that desires us to be whole and complete. We call on today the nature element to heal our community and to restore divine feminine and masculine ideas that allow us to live in harmony, balance, and order. Call on the nature element to build in us the confidence and the courage to be able to cross these thresholds and to begin to reimagine and redesign a life that helps to empower our communities. Thank you, elements, for being reactivated within us. Thank you, elements that are all around us and help us to guide our conversation and our healing today. Ashe, I'm going to pass over to my brother Quazzy, who's going to continue to ground us through meditative practice. Ashe.
Thanks, brother. So everyone, just take a moment exactly where you are to feel your feet planted on the ground. Just take a moment to relax your jaw, relax your face, relax your shoulders. If you feel comfortable to, you can also close your eyes. If you'd rather keep your eyes open, then just allow your eyes to get really low and relaxed, almost a blurry, hazy kind of vision, so you can really tap into the awareness of your breath. Feel the movement of your breath inwards and feel the movement of your breath outwards. And you can even notice in these moments and even utter to yourself, I am aware that the breath is moving in, and I am aware that the breath is moving out. Simply noticing the breath and relaxing the body. The jaw unclenched, the forehead unwrinkled, and the shoulders just relaxed. Some of us may be getting even more and more relaxed, noticing the breath and letting the body be still. And we might even want to stay a little bit longer in this moment, which you are welcome to do the next time you find yourself meditating or have some time to yourself. However, in this moment, we'll start to move to the next step. Given the nature of the work today and the brave request of diving inwards into your own past memory, into the memory of your experience and those of your loved ones. Use this mantra, this statement, as something to keep you grounded for the duration of the conversation. The words are on the screen. You can repeat these words to yourself out loud. I am more than the sum of my experiences. I am capable of being happy and whole. I am powerful enough to be with my innermost self. I am complete as I am, even in the face of adversity. I am more than the sum of my experiences. I am capable of being happy and whole. I am powerful enough to be with my innermost self. I am complete as I am, even in the face of adversity. As we draw this to the close, you can rub your hands gently, building some warmth. And then giving yourself a hug, rub the sides of your arms. Feel for that touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Quazzy and Brother Kamau, for really just grounding us and centering us for the deep dive and the conversation that we're about to have, community, family. And as you rejoin us from that grounding, from that meditation, from the elements that are our container that are within us and outside of us, really hold on and anchor yourselves in that breath, in that fire, water, mineral, earth, nature, air, to support you in the conversation that we're about to have. And yeah, that was electric. I appreciate being able to center and ground myself also as a facilitator of this conversation and thinking about patriarchy, sexism, misogyny, right? Like those three words you'll hear kind of over the course of this conversation and as we unpack them. And they come with baggage, right? And so there's just a few questions we want to throw out to get folks talking and in conversation and in dialogue, and to really see what it is that we can come up with together and where we can land inside of healing together. So the first question that we really want to look at and think about is, what is patriarchy, right? Is this a word that you're familiar with? Is it a word that means something to you, right? That you have a personal definition of? Or does it sound like a big word that you haven't quite figured out? You're like, oh, I've heard it before, but I'm not exactly sure what it means or what I'm even supposed to do with it. So my question is, what comes up for you when you hear the word patriarchy? Just that one to start. And you can answer in the chat. Some of the Facebook community may already be commenting on that. You can also come off of mute. We want to hear your voices. What comes up for you when you hear the term patriarchy? And I see a hand raised, Shanice and Carmen. So Shanice first, you want to come off of mute and just share with us what's coming up for you? While they're joining us, I also see in the chat some answers coming in. Terry says male dominance. is what patriarchy means or what comes up. Candace says patriarchy is rules by males controlled by men.
Sorry.
Leticia says the need of men to rule as father figures, and Keisha says the male head of household. Did I hear a voice? Is that you, Shanice?
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm on a different device this morning. But
Good morning.
peace, everybody. Thank you, facilitators, for grounding us, like she said, because it is kind of a trigger topic for me, but I've done enough work that I feel like I'm not triggered anymore by it. I'm able to just, it is what it is in terms of all aspects of this culture and society that we live in. I just learned how to empower myself. And that's what helps me no longer be triggered by patriarchy. To me is male domination, and it's pretty much the order of society. To me, when I think about when I started to learn how a lot of patriarchal norms came from God being centered as a male and God always being this male authoritative force, that's what helped me understand, oh, it's a lot of patterns. It's a lot of patterns like this throughout religion, throughout family, throughout the workplace. And it has definitely impacted my life. I would say pretty strongly, it's definitely impacted my relationships with men. And it's something that I still have to work on to, like I said, not hold on to resentment and to just empower myself as a woman. And that's how I deal with it.
Wow, Shanice, a lot came up for you, right? You just shared so much, and thank you for going first and naming everything from faith and religion to family, I heard you say, and also relationships that you're in, and how it can be triggering, right? Even just to talk about it or have a conversation about it. And I heard you name that it has impacted the way that you navigate life, all domains of life, right? So there's also something about it that is comprehensive. It is overwhelming, right? Thank you for sharing and opening up the dialogue. Carmen, good morning. Do you want to add to that or share what came up for you?
Yes. Oh my God, that was beautiful. And again, I want to add to that and build on that. Thank you, facilitators, for opening us up in such a beautiful way. What's coming up for me personally around patriarchy is I do a lot of card readings. I mess with the cards, and this week a lot. Lilith has been coming up for me, but upside down. And Lilith to me represents the divine feminine. And for that to be upside down is saying that I'm kind of upside down in my empowerment. And that directly relates to what Sister Shanice was saying around patriarchy, and it had kind of starting with religion. But for me, patriarchy is the lack of balance between acknowledging the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Patriarchy is when one thing, the divine masculine, is overshadowing everything. And it is all pervasive in our culture now. It is all pervasive in our society now. But I feel that shifting in my body. I feel that shifting in my body in major ways. I'm complete.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. And I think something that both you and Shanice named was like this, you gave information about empowerment and where that lives. And you also added, I think, a dynamic of energy, right? There's an energy inside of patriarchy that has imbalance and causes imbalance. Thank you for giving us a deep share. And we're going to talk about what it means also to experience it in your body, which I heard you name, and that's critical data points for us. I see the community is also giving definitions and sharing in the chat: a system of father elders rule, the structure of culture that's based on patriarchy, a lineage of male control of society and culture that's male dominant. I also saw someone named, I have decided, K Sweetness Jennings said, I have decided I will have a particular piece of luggage, a particular size piece of luggage that I can handle, and only what can fit in the luggage will go with me. Men are important, however, they must come through a woman to be. 9 just said a system that centers maleness that permeates every aspect of this society, similar to what Shanice was naming: relationships, health, education, beliefs. Candace affirmed that Lilith is giving a bold white figure, right? What else are we seeing from Facebook? Quazzy, Shawnee, Kamau. Are y'all hearing or seeing or witnessing anything that you want to lift up or that is coming up for you?
Facebook has dropped into the Zoom chat. So it says here, Charmaine dropped it from Jem. Men banding family community. That just came.
Men banding the family and community. Yes. I also
And I-
see oppression, suppression, abuse of power. Great unpacking of patriarchy. I want to go to the next term because we have 2 more, just to hear what your definitions, your thoughts, what comes up for you. What comes up when you hear sexism? The word sexism, right? We just unpacked patriarchy. Now we're talking about sexism. Does the same come up for you? Are there nuances? Is there a distinction? Is there one word that kind of overlays with sexism? What comes up for you? And you can raise your hand or come off of mute.
While people are put in the chat, I want to add, Vaughn, that for me, patriarchy is a new word for me. Probably as new as like last year, maybe 2. But I grew up hearing sexism a lot, more so. And so I always thought sexism was like the disproportionate treatment of men to women in like workplace and social environments.
Mm-hmm. Disproportionate, I think, is a key word. Thank you for that definition. Candace says sexism is the oppression of women. What else is coming up for us, community? Does this word resonate? Have you heard it before? Is it landing on you? Are there definitions of it that you're carrying or examples of it?
Yeah, I'll jump in and say that it is absolutely supported by systems and culture, that it's fed and fueled. What comes up for me, just by way of my work in reproduction, is it's like the fibroid that is feeding itself off of the blood supply and growing steadily, and taking over. And so, I feel like we've all been infected by it, but it's definitely supported still, despite the laws and policies and things that have been put in place in systems large and small, that it's like an infection.
Wow, thank you for that broad understanding also of how sexism behaves, right? Like it spreads, it's everywhere. I think someone also said invisible but pervasive. Candace named that, right? And that resonates, I think, with what you were sharing, Shawnee. Stereotypes, something as basic as stereotypes is a part of sexism.
Sure, we have a hand, Niamo, if you.
Niamo, yeah, please join us.
Oh, greetings.
What's
Good
coming?
morning. Here. For me, the sexism word, it kind of bothers me, just like racism bothers me. It's like not the issue. It's like, yeah, it's like the history. For me, patriarchy is much more accurate. Caucasian supremacy is more accurate.
Yeah.
But sexism is kind of like the media pushing out a word for division to flourish. And so it flourishes around this word. So people take up causes around the sexism word. And I don't think that gets to the issue or the cause. And it's the first ostracism, the way I'm holding it. It's the first ostracism, men against women. I'm complete.
Niamo gave a deep share. I hope everybody was able to hear that. And the reflection was around how sexism is not, doesn't look at the deep history, the richness, the cause, the roots of the evil or the violence, right? And it can also be a distraction from the deeper issue like patriarchy, right? Thank you. Good share. Really good share. I'm also seeing from Facebook, Jim, I think the boys club syndrome in many areas of society that excludes anything or anyone who doesn't fit in. Deborah on Facebook has said sexism creates violence and oppression. Carmen says sexism is the result of patriarchy. Patriarchy is the root. I like that. That goes with what Niamo just named. Interesting distinction. Jenny Lyons is naming control, mechanism, denial of female wholeness and power. Yes, that's right. Great that you're connecting the two words that we're unpacking. I'll just read a couple more and then we'll go to the third word that we're looking at. Zakia has said, in similarity to patriarchy, it is men's internal belief that they are superior to women. It's insanity given the undeniable fact and reality that men cannot exist without women. So there's something also about sexism and patriarchy that are nonsensical, right? They're illogical. And yet they're fueled and they're powerful. Sexism also divides. Sexism feeds homophobia. That's important. And Candace says it serves the status quo, so it's not really going to be removed, eradicated. Now that's a good question, right? Like, can we undo patriarchy and sexism? So let's shift, right? Let's go to the third word, misogyny. What is misogyny? What comes up when you hear misogyny? What words do you associate with it? It's a word I always misspell, which makes me feel like it's like a foreign language. But it is so pervasive, again, right? This is something that lives in our society. It's in the fabric. What is misogyny? What comes up for you when you hear misogyny? Do you ever say it? Do you ever overhear it? Do people around you use the language? What's coming up for you? I see you coming off of mute, Quazzy.
Yeah, and again, Von, for me too, like you said, misogyny feeling like a foreign word. As a man and then as a boy, like I grew up hearing sexism, if at all, but these other words, they weren't often used. And I'm interested too for any men in the space, either here or on Facebook, what their experiences with those words are too. Because I think it's interesting that a lot of the shares have been from women and they have a very deep analysis of them. And I know for me, oftentimes as a male, I'm not asked to think about these things. So misogyny was all, I've heard people being misogynistic, but anyone never ever stopped me to unpack what that meant, so I just kind of always glazed over it. And I had to kind of go out of my way to hear about it. And I always heard about it from women. So I don't know if there's any men in the chat and the Facebook that want to share their experiences about the emotional response they have to these words or the lack thereof.
Well, a call to the brothers. What's coming up for you? What's coming up for y'all as you hear words in the conversation? Yeah, Kamau.
Yeah, so thank you, Brother Quazzy, for calling us out to be reflective. I guess the first real experience when it became pronounced in terms of looking at misogyny was, you heard a lot of it through the hip hop culture, right? And the portrayal and the image that was so narrow in terms of just the women and the objectification of women. And when I think about it and reflect in terms of my own pulse check around it, it's has been so normalized in terms of the culture that has been created around all three of these particular terms. And there's a certain kind of conditioning that is a part of what this definition of being a male, boy, or man is in this society, where it's just been relegated to just our physicality or our dominance or our power. So as we become more enlightened, it's kind of going against the grain of the things that have become normalized in our world, right? To this day, being fully transparent, being able to navigate, somebody, the physical beauty and attraction without it being so overtly and dominate as a way of interacting, and so it's something that if we're conscientious and having our hands on our pulse, is that we interact and confront with, because it's been such a, indelible part of our experience and an omnipresent part of our experience around the toxicity. So that's what's coming up for me as I think about it, is ways to be able to recognize it and have a watcher within you go through the process of being able to unload and release some of the things that really don't serve or have a higher value as it relates to healthy relationships.
Wow, deep, powerful unpacking, and thank you, Quazzy, I think, for just like pulling that out and pulling Kamau out and other brothers who hopefully are reflecting and thinking out loud and with us about this. I have overheard, and like I grew up sitting under the kitchen table listening to women, and they would be talking about issues like patriarchy and misogyny and sexism, not using those words, but sharing about their lived experience, right? But rarely did I hear men discussing it, only acting it out, only performing it. So it means a lot to hear you both unpacking it, and I invite others to be in an unpacking with us as well. There's a lot came up in the chat, and I don't want to gloss over it. It's a lot that came up in the chat, including the hatred of women, which is the specific definition of misogyny, and it was pushed back on in the last couple of years to even call it that. People wanted to kind of revoke that definition and come up with something softer that didn't explicitly name that. Contempt of women, I see Jacqueline has offered, vile hatred of women, degrading women as a norm. And Shanice also lifted up that it gets seen in mainstream hip hop. And I saw below in the chat that there was some nuancing about hip hop. Hip hop is not always like that, wasn't always like that, but it kind of creeped into the culture of hip hop and into other Black demonstrations of the culture. We start to see misogyny showing up more.
I wanted to jump in there and say that I'm not of the mindset that it didn't exist. Like the men, it's a male dominated industry. And, the entry points, the folks that were the pioneers, men, that's, like I said, it's insidious. It's in the DNA, like the conditioning from when you're a little boy and the images that you see, especially during those times when hip hop started to become more mainstream than when it got birthed. So it was there. It was just that some men were bold enough to open up the gateway for the conversations, for the language to be used, and it sold. And so it became like a norm to bring this into the space and talk about it explicitly. I am not of the mindset that it didn't exist there already, and thinking, I'm sure Queen Latifah and, other folks that, are the women that were part of this movement can testify to that and have talked about it for years, like how they were treated and just the energy surrounding them being in the space.
Yeah, thank you for lifting that up, Quazzy.
Yeah, I agree with what Shawnee was saying, just in terms of, I think maybe it's more overt in the lyrics and things now, but these systems have been around, since man. So I think it's always been just in our culture, even if it hasn't always explicitly showed up in the lyrics. And I know Jacqueline has her hand raised as well.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
I think I wasn't talking so much about the beginnings of the commercialization of hip hop. I'm thinking about how it began in the streets, because I was there. And I'm sure that misogyny existed. I'm sure all of that hate, contempt for women was there. But when we were out there in those streets, and we were out there on those turntables, and we were out there on those mics, and we were doing our dances in the street, it was about fun. It was about partying. It was about, even women got on those mics. I mean, you didn't see them, and that's probably when the commercialization started, and they were pushed to the side. They were not allowed to profit from it, but we were there, and we were allowed to get on the mic in the streets, and we were given respect. So it was funny, that it turned that way, but it was more so from the industry. than anything else, because the culture, the rap culture at that time wasn't, I didn't feel it was oppressive. And I was there. Roxanne Shante had to fight back because, she was called out, but that was more like a playing the dozens, going back and forth, because instead of the gang mentality, we were fighting with words and dances and stuff like that. So, but it quickly changed. It quickly absorbed all that misogyny that was probably in our culture from the beginning, but I didn't see that as a 14, 13, 14-year-old. I saw it later. And so, and it became dominant. It's like crazy now. It's nothing like it started out at all. And I'm complete.
Jackie, I think that's a real interesting point that you made too. And I wasn't there just by being born in '93. And I think it's interesting that so when I think about rap execs and things like that, and when it became commercial, a lot of these rap execs are white. Like a lot of the higher ups are white people. And I think as a whole, hip hop went from what it seems like a Black empowerment thing to more guns, drugs, etc. So even just like to these words we're using, I wonder how much patriarchy and sexism like affected what became misogynistic lyrics. And
It's so
I'm
funny
starting.
it's so funny you said that. And I don't want to cut you up, but I just, because I didn't want to forget my thought. It's funny that you said that, because when it happened, it was formed as an alternative to the gang fighting. You understand? And so for that to, and I'm gonna tell you, the gangs were not just males; there were females in those gangs too. They had their little sisters or whatever the case is. Unfortunately, my brother was deep into it, so it was in my house. He tried to bring it in the house anyway. So, I saw what happened, and we went from being like the last poets and all of these other folks that were out in the street, and to bringing unity to the neighborhood, to going right back to this nonsense. Like it just flipped on us. It was co-opted, and it was made into something else quickly because it was profitable. And I'm complete.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I think if we had a whole other session, we could just go into, I think, hip hop as one segment of Black culture. And then I think also thinking about the ways that white supremacy tampers with Black culture, and what gets, to me, not what happens as a result, but what gets exacerbated. Like what is already occurring that gets then pulled out, right? And we see that like in our neighborhoods, we see it in our churches, we see it everywhere, right? And that's, so we're not just fighting one demon, we're fighting this like overarching like white supremacist culture, which doesn't want to see us win, and will definitely pit us against each other as Black men and Black women, right? So thank you for sharing just from lived and personal experience and naming that, and the role of capitalism. So we have done major unpacking, right? Like with sexism, patriarchy, misogyny, and we want to expose it a little bit deeper, really the interplay of these three, right? Not just seeing them as separate categories, but this overlapping, right? Like these three siblings, the way that they rise up collectively, right? And so we want to share a clip from a movie that many of us have seen that's actually a part of the culture, The Color Purple. And there was major pushback when this film was coming out because there was such deep exposure of Black trauma, misogyny, patriarchy, toxic masculinity was being exposed in the book, but then also in the film, which a lot of people did not want the book to be created into a film because of just what it exposed. But we're just going to share this clip and unpack this clip a bit. And because we're at 7:56, I'll just shout out our crew who's going to work. We know that at 7:55, around this time, right before 8 o'clock, some folks have to start to transition. So we thank you for being with us if you do have to leave right now. For folks who can stay on, please stay on. We have a lot more juicy content to share with you and unpacking to do. But for community who has to go, sending our love, safe travels and journeys to work.
Thank you.
Dear God, he come home with a girl from around a town called Gray. She be almost my age, but they getting married now. My little sister Nettie, she's got a man always looking at her. His wife dead. She was killed by her boyfriend coming home from church. He got 3 children though. He seen Nettie in church, and now every Sunday evening, here come Mister.
It is therefore to be entered into lightly or unadvised, but reverently and soberly, and in the fear of God. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we ask your blessings on Brother James David Harris, Lydia Queen. Amen. I want to marry your Nettie. I gotta have somebody right now. I got nobody to watch over my young'un. They's be fighting and bleeding and throwing up on the floor sometimes. Well, I got a farm to run. Now, I'm gonna take right good care of your Nettie. I can't let you have Nettie. She's too young. But I tell you what, I can let you have Celie. She's the oldest anyhow, she ought to marry first. She ain't fresh though, but I expect you know that. She's spoiled twice. Celie is ugly, but she ain't no stranger to hard work, and she can learn. And God done fixed her. You can do everything just like you want to, and she ain't gonna make you feed it or clothe it. But Nettie, you flat out can't have, not now, not never. Well, I ain't never looked at the other one before. Let me see her again. Celie, Mr. Wanna look at you. Move up. He won't bite. Turn around.
What you doing that for?
Your sister's thinking about marriage.
So I wanted to jump in, Savannah, if you don't mind, just to kick the conversation off. As an artist, I see so much, like, as far as the choices that were made in this scene, not just the content that amplifies the conversation that we're in, but how Steven Spielberg had us looking through with Nettie and Celie through this smoky haze with just the men's faces. And it pains me to think about women who had to look at life through this very narrow lens, and the lens of male dominance and toxic masculinity, and and then watch the negotiation of their lives happening between men like they don't matter. It gives me like this sick feeling. And then his terminology, spoiled twice. All right. So just thinking about, first of all, how language that they use, well, like we were animals. And then the other piece is that, we didn't show another clip, which is her having his babies, her dad's babies. So there was incest happening. He was raping her. She had 2 babies while her mom was alive, and then the mom died. But, he spoiled her innocence. He damaged her. And then here he continues with that assault by having this bartering, or not bartering, but just this negotiation, this exchange with Mr. And then also just thinking about the name Mr. It's like it could be any man, men on my jobs that I work when I worked in the world, my uncles and cousins and my family, my neighbors, just how patriarchy, misogyny, and sexism work. Like, you see the interplay here, and it just brings it all alive. And I wish I could say that what we see in this scene, oh, that was back then. It's just more nuanced and insidious now. And, that's how I want to open up the conversations, just like the visuals and just the layout of that scene. I'm like, whoa, so, just passing it on to my colleagues. And I know there are folks probably have a whole lot to say in the chat as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in too, Shawnee. Like everything about that clip makes me sick. And it was actually my first time seeing it was when we were watching it, just kind of preparing for this session. And it was not only did the clip make me sick, but it made me sick that even though it was my first time seeing that particular scene, it wasn't my first time kind of experiencing that level of misogyny and patriarchy and sexism. And one thing that's getting me even watching the clip again and again is just how the little boy was like, what's going on, and then the dad was like, again, he's just speaking for Celie and just saying she's thinking about getting married and she just found out, but even just but to hear the little boy and just kind of see that, like, how this thing is getting passed on again and again is just like I said, is very sickening, and don't really have the words for it, but the little boy definitely got me on this rewatch.
I want to offer if Kamau wants to reflect also as we open it up to the group, just what you saw and what resonated on the conversation we've been having this morning.
Well, definitely the lack of voice, and the lack of being able to have a certain level of determination in certain major decisions. And then also what really caught me was just how internalized the oppressor and rents and lives space in our mind and our spirit. That the damage of what has been done traumatically, and the powerlessness and how it plays itself out in following, white male dominant patriarchal culture, and how we've inherited many of those values and those behaviors. So that was clear. It sounded, very much like a white supremacist having a conversation in terms of how negotiating and making decisions that don't take into consideration anyone else other than a man's desires and usually base desires.
And it's, once again, when you watch the complete movie, you see what is really his plan, the father. Like, he had plans for Nettie, just like he violated Celie. There was a plan for him to keep Nettie for himself, even though he had acquired a wife, and I say acquired because she was probably gotten the same way, another young girl, and he didn't want Mister to have his property and the desires of his obsession and his lust. So, you could take her. I've already done what I wanted to do with her, but you can't have this one because she's mine. So ownership, just so much. And once again, how white supremacy culture, like you said, Kamau, has, contaminated the minds of the men and created a structure that was just shifted slightly, but replicated over and over again in different ways. So I know that the community has their share. So Sevonna, you want to move to?
Absolutely. I see a lot in the chat coming up, and I would encourage folks, if you could raise your hand or come off of mute to share just what your reactions have been, what you've heard Shawnee, Quazzy, Kamau share. And I see, there's some things in the chat that I would love for folks to unpack. I know Denise, Charmaine, Candace, others are kind of grappling with this. And I really just want to invite folks to come off of mute and share, reflect. I see you, Mother Amal, please come off of mute to share with us. I see your hand.
Yeah, sure. I'm looking at that as, for me, it's like a metaphor, because if we talk, I don't know whether you're going to get to this, so I'm certainly hoping that I'm not jumping the gun, but in the end, she prevails. In the end, she is the victor. And I'm seeing that too, feminine energy is the two energy, the And we're in the two energy now on this planet. That one energy, that masculine energy, allowed all of that to mass, all that. First, they relied on women, and then they became afraid of women, and then they made women second class, and they did the same thing to Black people. So Black people is two energy too, just remember that. And so what I see in this movie is that we go from being downtrodden to victory. And that's what I see it as a metaphor. This is what's coming. Just like as Black people, we went from being downtrodden and we're going to have victory. I hope I didn't change the subject, but that's the way I'm feeling about it. And I'm complete.
If I could add to what Mama Mo was saying, and this idea of like, getting a victory, and, it being a movie, they do have happy endings, and like, there's definitely a striving to see those Hollywood endings in real life. I'm wondering too, genuinely wondering, like, where's the accountability? Like, how do we get to this level of accountability that we can actually see that ending happen in real life? And one thing I sometimes struggle with, what I could use some more education on probably too, is even when we talk about this as like a white supremacy issue, in that particular clip, I only seen Black people. I only seen Black men kind of doing the harm. So I get on some level, maybe we learn that through the slave trade, et cetera, et cetera. But like, that ain't like, that almost feels like an excuse at times, at least for me in some certain circles, certain men's circles. We blame it on white supremacy when when does the accountability fall on the men actually doing the harm to do something about it? And then maybe how can we actually hold people accountable in our life that are Black men? Because I think, this was a Black woman's book, right? I know the book, and I know she got a lot of flack because she was telling our business. And I know in the Black community, we often try to stay out of our business or stay out of each other's business. And that usually is at the detriment to our closest loved ones. So that's coming up for me, and how we actually can see this, this real happy ending actually be.
I want to add to that. That was amazing insight. And I think that, I know she came out of it. She healed when she found herself. She healed when she connected with Suge. She healed when she remembered her sister and remembered her children, and like kind of grew up and stepped into her womanhood. She got away. She healed that way. And she put her hex on him. And she was like, until you do right by me, nothing in your life is going to work. And nothing in his life worked until he got himself together. And it was the accountability of the whole culture. Suge came back with her husband and was like, nah, we're taking Celie because you're abuser and this is problematic. And it takes our community to come together and be like, nah, we have to figure this out and fix this together.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, there is this piecing back together of one's life, right? With God, with community, with other women, right? The burden gets misplaced and shifted onto communities of women to heal each other, to gather each other, to put each other back together again, right? And I think what Quazzy is saying is, yes, it feels like that resiliency can be praised, but where is the accountability for where the harm has occurred? And how do we ensure that we're not misplacing that harm onto white supremacy as a scapegoat, and we're actually bringing it in, bringing it home? So thank you for sharing that. Dion, I see your hand is raised and that you've also commented in the chat. Would you like to share?
Peace. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that I hadn't seen it in forever. I'd read the book, of course, and watched the movie and saw the play. And what I typed in the chat, for some people that know that, my daughter that died had been molested by her father, but what everybody doesn't know is that we believe had been molested by his father, and that his father had also molested his sister, and that his grandfather had also molested his daughters and raped his ex-wife. So I kept seeing what I hadn't seen before, that they were teaching this young man, this is how we deal with the women. And I was like, oh, I didn't see that before. So that was what was interesting to me, to see that.
Yeah. I put this word in the chat earlier, and it's not my way, but just inviting you, Dion, because I know you can, to, if the word wasn't interesting, what would the word be? That is interesting to know this. What would the word be if it wasn't interesting?
I'm sitting with it, and I don't know, I felt like it's dehumanizing, it's appalling, it's offensive, but that it's also so normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because although I'm really fortunate that that was not my experience, I think you mentioned it before, like I definitely know, and I think we've brought this up in different conversations, like I remember which uncle not, whose lap to not sit on.
Mhm.
And I, even in my adult life, like and then it just, I was like, oh wow, this is so normal to see what it was and how I explained to my daughter before she died. I was like, you know, hurt people hurt people. So
Sure.
then only as I'm verbalizing it now, I'm like, well, I wonder what happened to him and what was his education for him to get that this is okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is just what we do and how we do it.
Yeah. I want. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
No, I mean, you know, we could go on forever. We could be talking till noon. So that was it.
Yeah.
You know.
And this conversation doesn't get enough airtime. So definitely noon wouldn't be enough. Like I can talk about this from what's today's date? September 7th this year till September 7th next year, and it wouldn't be enough.
You know what? The one other thing that I will add that I thought was interesting, again, that's used to choose the word interesting or thought provoking, is that I know that even when we had the conversation, because I've always been so vocal about what was happening in my child, her aunts, so my daughter's aunt, right, who had been raped repeatedly by her father and not brought to justice, even though she did tell her mother, and her mother was like, well, you've already had sex with other people, so the police won't do anything. So nothing had ever been brought to justice. So when we talked about, she told her aunts about my daughter, they told her, don't tell that child's business.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't business. That's not private.
Right.
But they didn't even want to talk about it.
Right. Thank you. You know, I wanted to share this because the title for today's session is Ritual, Release, and Repair. And so just thinking about that through line or that circular experience, sometimes we want to rush through. We have to set the stage by engaging in ritual. That's why we did what we did at the top and created the space to cradle you all in this conversation. And the release part, you know, we didn't want to rush to the happy ending because we need more time to release. And so even inside of the conversation of, you know, saying that this is the cause of all of these behaviors is white supremacy culture, I'm very cautious about that as a healer and a clinician, because trauma and conditioning go far, wide, and deep. And so this generational trauma, it's like, I need time, y'all. Like this, my grandmother's 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 grandmother went through this. We're just starting to talk about this, you know, and I can't even say when I was a little girl, like as an adult, these conversations have been normalized. And I've had to force these conversations in some of my circles. So I'm like, I'm not ready to release you know, the impact of white supremacy culture on our psyche, on our ways of being. I know my womb was full of fibroids because of things that were just not addressed, not just in my lifetime, but the lifetimes that come before me. And so there's an overlapping dynamic where I'm accountable and responsible, which we will talk about because I know what I know, I'm conscious, I'm woke and all that. And then also I'm accountable to make sure that the stories of my ancestors who have never been told, you know, come up and out of me. And I just need time. We need time to be able to say what happened to us, and to say who did it to us, and also to take our responsibility, like all of that. has to be a part of the healing journey and the reparative practice and formula. So I just wanted to put that out there from, my point of view on the panel. And then just ask, my partners in this process where we want to go next, because we wanted to talk about the shadow self. I see Diane's hand. So what do we want to choose to do? Because clearly we need more time than what we got.
I think I want to be able to honor real time where people are and allowing them to give voice to what they're feeling, what they're sensing, what they're thinking right now. And I see that there are two hands that are looking to, and then I know that we're looking at maybe about roughly 15 more minutes that we might have somebody do a deeper dive.
Yeah, I want to ask Mama Amal, always respectfully, if we can hear some more voices too, because I know you shared earlier your position. If you can type in the chat, I see Paula's hand up and Diane's hand up. We'd love to hear from some others, and I know Baba Kojo's in the space. And Adam, we don't have a lot of men in the space, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just important, since we're talking about this, to have male perspective instead, and especially men who are willing to do the work to transform this, because we have to do this together. So
Right.
if Diane, if you could unmute yourself, beloved.
Good morning. Thank
Morning.
you for the chance. I'll just quickly say, I'm sorry I won't be able to come off video, but I put in the chat also my comment, and it was just also thinking about the children and the role of parental and paternal power, because the parent, the father there, were making decisions for, like, they didn't see the children as whole people, as humans. And so children they were his property to do what he want with them. And so it's so much residual and existing ways in which enslavement, the way children are valued, the way children are seen as people versus property, that's there. And the children didn't have a choice. And he may not have had a choice either, but certainly the children in this clip didn't. And I see it so much. I think we see it so much in our community still. And you are the way that people claim their children as their thing or their property, and not give space to children having feelings, emotions, voices, thoughts, and a right to wholeness and humanness. And I know that I just like to deposit in the conversation also that this is not, that some men have broken a cycle, and that some Black men have, and that they were protective and provided and didn't allow those things to happen. And so we do have that in our community as well, fighting back against the what is in all of us in some ways.
Thank you. We also have Paula's hand. Can you unmute, Paula? I don't know if that was an accident or Paula, we are.
Paula on video.
Oh, hi. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I just kind of like wanted to talk about like the conditioning of like, I guess like men in regards to like like from the clip, and seeing how some of these things might be passed down. I have a daughter, and I had to teach my daughter that there are people out there that might harm you, or might want to harm you, or the fact that it can be so close to home. Like a lot of the times those things are more close to home than they are outside, and I don't know. I had like this uncle that just like rubbed me the wrong way, in like how he like looks at my daughter, and like I almost felt scared to like even tell someone in the family like, hey, I'm leaving, but make sure she's okay around this person. because it was just a feeling. And I don't know, it was just weird. I think just watching the clip and realizing like how close to home these things really are, and just seeing that it's been something that has been conditioned a bit or whatever. But yeah, like I don't know. I remember just telling my brother, it was just weird. I had a feeling, it just felt weird. But I'm like, I'm not going to act like I don't have this feeling. Like I'd rather protect my kid than to, have something occur. And yeah, like I told my brother, and I felt good that he supported me in that. Like I was leaving and I'm like, I couldn't leave without telling someone, like, look, just watch over her, make sure she's okay. And my brother was like, no, tell me, like it's my niece, I have to protect her, so you tell me. And I'm like, okay, because it's my mother's brother, and you hear all these stories of how family doesn't believe you or things like that. And but I feel good that at the end of the day, like like I can protect my daughter, like with just even information and things like that. I don't know. I'm sorry, I just felt a little triggered by some of this stuff. But I think yeah, just being able to like talk to our kids and our girls. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
Yeah, we got you. We got you. And I see your community nodding and holding you and breathing with you and witnessing.
Yeah,
and
it's like,
having some similar experiences, right? And you just taught us what to do.
Yeah, like, one day after this, my daughter, it's just like we were at a funeral and this same uncle, like, I don't know, she came to me and she's like, Mommy, Uncle Mark asked me, she's like, what's my number? Because Uncle Mark is asking me. And she knows her number. So that did something for me. And I'm like, yeah, she has a phone, but to talk to her mom and dad, like it just was frustrating to me that it seems like he keeps on pushing and trying to find a way to like, and it just blew my mind. But, the fact that she was somewhat in tune, that she came to me, hey, Mommy. And I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was so pissed. But, I felt good. I'm like, hey, I've been teaching her, I had to let her know what molesting is, because how else is she gonna, be aware or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, I feel good, but also crappy, at the same time about it.
I want to encourage, first and foremost, thank you, Paula, for just your tears in this space. We view tears as libation. So thank you for pouring libation for all of us through the power of your share. And, one of the things that I do in my work, and I had to do it for myself first, was to start to recognize what types of tears I was shedding, and also being mindful of not letting anger be the go-to emotion that I would speak from, because I would, like, everything was anger for me. And I'm like, sometimes it's tears of fear, sometimes it's tears of sadness, sometimes it's tears of disappointment, sometimes they are angry, righteous tears. But just encouraging the community to do a deeper dive and like really tease out what needs to be released, the types, because we're in ritual release and repair. Like, what am I releasing right now? Not just the stories, because I became very good. I'm an actor, so I was good, and a writer, so very good at telling stories, but not good at, when I was younger, being connected to the emotional content and what was underneath, the shares. So just encouraging everyone to do that, and to I have to interrogate my tears. Like, I really have to do that and pull them apart. And so just asking everyone to use that time to do that for themselves. So Kamau, I saw you unmuted. I don't know if that means you wanted to say something or you just happened to be unmuted.
while I am, I wanted just to, echo and acknowledge the libation. And usually one person is the person that does it for us all. Maybe not necessarily knowing which direction you were going, it was necessary
Kamau, a sound issue. Almost sounded like you turned on a lawnmower.
I'm sorry, I was outside.
We can't hear you though. Sorry. Yeah. All right. So just wanting to, I love what Quazzy said, like celebration of your daughter for using her intuition and also her voice, and the encouragement to keep fostering that. So yes, thank you, Quazzy, for putting that into the space. So we're going to continue. We've collectively chosen, in the background, just chosen to stay longer and to go until at least 9 o'clock. And then also there's some special offers that we have that will support us in the community to continue the conversation and do what we need to do to administer self-care beyond this space. So we want to do this. And so I'm just going to ask that we check in, family, about what we want to do next, because we do have other offerings, but I'm willing to be flexible around what's needed in the space right now. So Quaz, Sevonna, Kamau, just what we want to do next. We have a plan, but it's really about the community plan.
I like the idea of check-in. I would even just encourage everybody just to do a where they're at check-in, just re-referencing the elemental clearing. Maybe remember what you were releasing, re-referencing the relaxing of the jaw, the shoulders, taking a deep breath. That's my that personal check-in. I'm good with that too, and whatever else the team wants to do.
Okay, thank you. So Quaz, since we're here and you just offered that up, can we take a few minutes so that you can support and guide us through the check-in? Because some folks arrived after the opening ritual, and so some are not familiar with what we did. But if you could utilize your gifts to support, that would be great.
For certain. So I'm gonna redo the thing the mantra we had earlier, and I'd encourage you to verbally say it out loud to yourself, because I think it's very important that we get it out of our heads, and also you can hear your own voice, you can hear your own vibration echo out those words into your space. So even before we do that, if you could just take a moment to look around the physical room you're in, look behind you, look up, look down. This gives also a chance to kind of move the body a bit, but also if you can, affirm that you are in a safe space, because we've done a lot of time traveling with the stories that we've been telling. We've done a lot of time traveling with remembering certain situations in our life. So it's important to kind of remember, like, at least right now at 8:29, Tuesday, September 7th, 2021, you are in a safe space. And I genuinely hope that is true for everybody, for all of us that are here, right? With that being said, you can feel your feet on the ground. This is a good way to literally ground yourself. Relax your jaw. It's clenched, your face, your shoulders. Feel the movement of your breath going in and out. This is a good way to remind yourself, right, that life is happening in real time. You can even say to yourself, I'm aware that the breath is moving in, and I'm aware the breath is moving out. There's a reason that we have to breathe all day long, because things get stuck. So continue to follow the flow of your breath. I'm aware that the breath is moving in, and I'm aware the breath is moving out. And with that, you might also be bringing in new information with that breath in, right? New awareness, nuances to what you've been feeling, right? You also might be clearing out old stories on that breath out. Things that were stuck might be able to loosen up because you're letting tears flow. You're letting yourself be vulnerable. You've maybe shared in some powerful way. I know, again, for some of us, this might help us relax, and we'd love to stay in this space a little bit longer. And I'd invite you to do this as often as you can throughout your day. However, we will go to the next step in this moment. So I'd invite yourself to repeat after me and do so verbally so you can hear your own voice. I am more than the sum of my experiences. I am more than the sum of my experiences. I am capable of being happy and whole. I am capable of being happy and whole. I am powerful enough to be with my innermost self. I am powerful enough to be with my innermost self. I am complete as I am, even in the face of adversity. I am complete as I am, even in the face of adversity. Gently rub the palms together when you're ready. Build a little bit of heat. This is also a transfer of energy. Not all friction is bad. Some of the friction we use gets us through the next step. Okay. And then hug the sides of your arms, rub the sides of your arms. Give yourself a supportive, nurturing, caring touch.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you so much. So powerful. And a perfect segue into what we're about to do next. One of the things that I was sharing with the collective, this awesome team, is that because of the insidiousness of white supremacy culture, patriarchy, sexism, misogyny, I own that those things, those energies have come out of me and through me in different ways. And I love how Nicholas had us ground ourselves in I am statements. And the ones that really stand out for me based on where we're about to go is I am powerful enough to be with my innermost self, and I am complete as I am, even in the face of adversity. What we want to offer up today is an opportunity to look at the fact that our shadow selves, as my brother Kamau shared earlier, live, breathe, and manifest daily. That because we're part of a society that teaches us separateness and individualness and teaches us to compete and compare and despair, there are ways in which that oozes out of us and creates real-time impacts on ourselves and on others. I am willing in this space to share that when I was a little girl and I experienced molestation, and it started when I was 3, that I engaged in behavior with other little children to expose them to sexual things before they were ready to maybe experience them. I own that my trauma and wounding created a space where I became predatory in my way of being and thinking. I forgive myself for that experience. Did I do harm? Did I use weapons? No, but I used my voice, which is my powerful tool, to encourage another little girl to engage in sexual things when I was a little girl too. And so I say that in this space. That's a shadowy part of my life, and I bring it to the light by naming it in this space. Because I was so afraid of being dominated by patriarchy, I would use what I call male power and energy to manipulate men and to be controlling in spaces. And so those are just 2 things that I have done over the course of my life. And there are many things. Like if I wrote a list, I would be able to declare what those things are and lay them bare for everyone to see and know. But my shadow self needs light. She needs to heal. And we invite each of you to remember you are powerful enough to be with your innermost self and innermost experiences and the things that you hide. You are complete as you are, even in the face of adversity. And sometimes the face of adversity is to let people see the darker side that lives within us, because it's so easy to say they did this to me and not operate from a place of we all can be predatory, we all can be manipulative, we all can bring dark energies into light spaces sometimes, whether it's conscious or unconscious. So part of the release and repair today is to own that and share that. So I have a slide, and before I put it up, thinking about Quazzy and what he did with us with the body, I want you to think about whether you lean towards the right side of your body, the left side of your body, or the middle. And I'll share what that means later. Just choose intuitively. Is it the right side of your body? Is it the left side of the body? Or you like more middle facing? And middle facing might be balanced, or middle facing might be you just let yourself like almost tip over, when you're, standing, like you're leaning forward. Whatever the orientation is, put it in the chat. And that's the leaders of the space today, the facilitators as well. Is it right? Is it left? Or is it forward leaning? It's right side for me. Thank you, family. We have 47 powerful souls in the space. And if you don't know, just intuitively select, go with it. Sometimes knowing is not going to get the job done. All righty, family. And Kay, Sweetness, I see your hand. Just choosing to move forward, and prayerfully what we do will provide some insight and support for you. Thank you for your presence and participation in the space. Y'all forgive me. I'm just trying to make adjustments on my end. All right, here we go. Thank you for dropping it in the chat. Loving it, loving it. So we're going to do an exercise about mirrors and really looking. I just showed you a mirror of myself in my younger years, but there's parts of me that have shadowy aspects. That's just human existence. So left orientation, right orientation, middle. If you chose left, we're inviting you to dare to see your reflection, like look in the mirror and really open your arms. And you see how this person has their face covered. They don't want to see, but like really owning the shadow self. And if you're in the middle, if you pick middle orientation, we invite you to name, right? And everyone can name, but name something shadowy that has been created because of toxic masculinity and, patriarchy, sexism, because those are our focus today, misogyny. We want to expose something that we've done, or ways of being that we've had and doing and being that have created something that we've done in our lifetimes, or said in our lifetime, that we want to expose today, maybe that we've never said before. Invitation is always there, never obligation, only invitation. And then if you're right oriented, we ask that you explore, stop, look, and listen to what the feminine has for you. Now, once again, the entire community can do all of this, right? We ask you, if you're left orientation, to dare to look at your reflection and own. And then the middle orientation is to be willing to expose that, like to say at least one thing about it, about something you've done or said that aligns with this energy that we're exploring today, these three siblings that toxify our atmosphere and our ecosystem. And then the third one is to stop, look, and listen and hear what the divine feminine has to say. And like, if you really listened in, what would it be telling you? So I'm going to ask my team, the admin team, our team, to be on the lookout for anyone who wants to share from the right orientation, the left orientation, or the middle, whether they want to accept the invitation to go here. But take a few minutes, especially those who got the divine feminine message, or all of you. Like, what is it that you want to see? What is it that you want to expose? What is it that you're willing to listen to the divine feminine around and have clarity for yourself? Stop, look, and listen. And if any of the panelists are willing to go there, because I know you selected as well, to give an example, please do. Sevonna, Kamau, Nick.
Well, I guess I do feel compelled to share because I did get the forward middle one. And that one being expose yourself. I find there be like some vulnerability around that, even being one of the panelists. So then I find myself, you know, a bit of that, like compelled to share, maybe because of that reason.
Ashe.
I guess in the way I you know, just hearing that the forwardness is a way to expose yourself, I feel like I do a lot of, at times, people pleasing, or I'm scared to say things in the way that I really feel, out of fear of seeming fraudulent in the place I'm trying to go. So even in this talk about misogyny and patriarchy and sexism, I guess I expose myself in the sense of I still carry and harbor a lot of the thinking of patriarchy and misogyny and sexism. And even with all the amount of intentionality around being better or doing better outside of spaces like this, on the block, certain friends, certain female friends, I still perpetuate a lot of ways these ideas of patriarchy and misogyny and sexism.
Can you give us one example?
Yeah, I actively maybe seek relationships with women that may be unhealthy, in the sense of the patriarchal sense of dominating or trying to keep up with my friend groups, my men friend groups, in terms of how they navigate spaces. Sometimes I try to keep up with them and their actions, even when it isn't fully aligned with where I'm trying to go, where I'm headed. Being disingenuous or misleading to achieve a result that is maybe more for the gratification of my friends than it is even for where I want to be in terms of my spirit. Ignoring inner guide and inner self cues for the sake of worldly gratification from friends, whether that be just in terms of how I'm perceived or even sexually. Sometimes even perpetuating misogynistic ideas around music or media and my consumption of that, despite some awareness that it's not uplifting my spirit to be in those spaces all the time. And I'm complete.
Thank you, brother, for that candor, you know, for really exposing, like opening up your chest and allowing us to see. And, you know, what I love about your share too is that you warmed yourself up. And as the warmth came, you started to share more and more specifically about what it is that you do inside of this energy of white supremacy culture, of misogyny and patriarchy and sexism, like all those layers, and just how toxic and insidious it can be. You know, when I think about people pleasing, you know, folks say it's for the other person, but it's really for the individual doing it to survive, right? And in this culture that we've discussed today, you know, I understand why folks feel like they have to do stuff to survive. And then when you're conscious of it, you can do something different if you choose. That's why we call it ritual release. And then you can choose the repair. And it's all, once again, invitation. Inviting everyone to breathe too, and then also as contribution to those who have shared already, like to drop into the chat, because we may not be able to hear from everyone. We won't be able to in the time that we have, so that you can support the conversation, but authentically, no force, just invitation to drop it in the chat so that we can support one another as a community in this conversation. And Thea, I see your hand. So you ready to come on off mute and share?
Hi, good morning. A bit hoarse, but this has been a very interesting topic. I touched.
Right. Remember what I said earlier? We're banning interesting. So what?
This
what
has been a very revealing session. And a lot of the words ask like, what's patriarchy? What's sexism? What is misogyny? I never really looked deep into these words, and I just felt that it was important today for me to sit and listen and to get a full understanding of things. And thank you for everyone to sharing their personal experience, and it's been helpful for me. And I choose the left side, and it says to dare to see your reflection. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I don't like what I see. And I guess it's because I sometimes feel disgusted of what I've experienced, what I've done because of my hurt and my pain. I feel disgusted that I even people please as much as I do, but like, it's how I knew how to survive. And now that I decided to face a lot more of what's going on in the inward parts of myself, people pleasing doesn't work for me. And choosing my voice and what I feel comfortable in that moment to say no or to just speak up, I've seen how small are the shrinkage within my circle. And that makes me feel like I want to shrink as well. And when my cousin pointed out to me, she's like, you speak very lowly of yourself. But it's weird because I speak very highly of like people around me, give a lot of courage to them. And I had to stop and listen to the things that I was saying to myself. Like, you're a loser, or you're not good enough for that, or it's your fault. You're not pretty enough. It's so much really unnecessary. And I'm trying every day to regain my strength by when I look in the mirror, smile, laugh at myself, blow kisses, tell myself I can do it, be goofy with myself. And when those thoughts come, be like, girl, cut it out, I got you. Like, because I know it's coming from that little girl that has been hurt so much, felt used, abused, and misused so many times. Not only by people, but by myself, because I've put myself in positions where I've said yes to things that I should have said no to, where I choose to go left when I should have choose right, or say something or react out of anger and hurt instead of just sitting still and acknowledging what has caused this anger and hurt to show up. So these days I'm just still. I'm trying my best not to react to that anger and that hurt. Sometimes I see myself, but I don't see myself. I see a shell.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump in here because I know that this is a space and a place that you are familiar with, right? What is unfamiliar is creating a space of seeing yourself through the eyes and the lens of the creator. One of the affirming things that I say for myself and for others is that I am the manifestation of the creator's best work. And when I look at like how deep that goes, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. If I'm the creator's best work, then there's nothing for me to fear or to feel ashamed about. Like, I am made out of the best material possible. And so because I love Zoom in this way, it can be annoying, but you can see your own reflection in the box, right? So you mentioned throwing kisses and all, and we'll join you, Kamau, Quazzy, Sevonna, you know, like, let us follow you without words, because you use words a lot, right? And words can be so dismantling. They could be so, I love words, but they can block and stop shit, right? So if you give us the visual movement of love, and only what you feel comfortable with. I'm not trying to force the moment, but just offering you an opportunity to actually go and fetch what you say you want. We'll follow you and watch yourself in your own box mirror, and we'll follow you so that you'll know you got community loving on you too, right? So let us follow you, and take some breaths. And if you need help, Brother Quazzy is here to help you breathe if you need that. But whenever you're ready, no force. Let's move with you. But mainly, this is you doing this for yourself. Show us how to you can love on yourself if you choose. Without the words.
Laughter.
Okay.
Dance movement.
You're still talking. Still talking.
Oh, oh.
Awesome. You got Quazzy got his hands up. You got him like grooving. And can we each offer you something and you reflect it back, or you feel comfortable with that? All right, brothers, y'all ready? Because y'all didn't know this. Y'all didn't know we were gonna do this. Join us, girl. I passed to Quaz.
I'll do my own thing. Okay.
I passed to Kamau.
Oh, I can't see.
All right, I passed to Savannah. Can you see Savannah? Just slide over to the.
Oh, yes, I see her.
That got you. Let's do it again. Shay. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. Love you so much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.
So it is 8:55. Y'all are incredible. I know Kamau has some things to offer to us so that we can carry them away. And we also want to share some things, some offers beyond this session, because so much has come up. So Kamau, you ready? I'm going to put your slide up if you're ready. Oh, we can't hear you.
I'm ready.
Oh,
I'm ready, but we have the sound, so I'm hoping that it doesn't interfere too much.
All right, we've got a heartbeat. Hold on one.
So as we're preparing, I want us to reflect a little bit on all of our experience. It's interfering, right?
So you want to pass to one of us to?
Yeah, please. If
Savannah, you want to take
Savannah?
Sure. Yeah, thank you, community. I see a hand raised as well, and I know there's like never enough time, right? We're trying to complete. But these stages, really, steps of atonement, are available to us in the event that we have caused harm, right? That we've held harm against another person or against ourselves. And they come from the Million Man March from 1995. And the idea of atonement, reconciliation, and responsibility are really inside of this concept, this notion of repair that we've been talking about, right? The third part of our conversation, ritual release, and repair is the final piece and component, which is really about making and promoting peace, settling differences, holding oneself accountable, and holding community accountable. And so I'll read out loud the 8 steps for reconciliation, the 8 steps for atonement. And the first one is that someone must point out the wrong, right? So the wrong must be named. An individual must witness the wrong and point it out. The second is acknowledgement of the wrong. So the wrong or the harm doing must be acknowledged, right? It has to be acknowledged by the person that committed the wrong. Then there has to be confession of the fault, first to God, and then to those who were offended, or then to those who were harmed. The fourth is repentance. So remorse actually has to be felt, right, from the person that caused the harm or the person who did wrong. The fifth stage is atonement itself. So meaning to make amends, to make reparations, right, for the wrong that was done. So that means to fill in the gap wherever there was rupture. So atonement is actually the process of repairing. Forgiveness by the offended party, right? So the person who was harmed or wronged was cast against. Forgiveness is the sixth component. And this means to cease the offense, so to cease the resentment against the other person or the person who caused harm or the entity that caused harm. The seventh step is reconciliation and restoration, which means to become friendly again, to become peaceable again, to be in peace again. And step 8 is perfect union with God and with each other. Perfect union with God and with each other. So those are the 8 steps for atonement. Shawnee is putting them in the chat. You can also take a photo or a screenshot of this if you're on your computer, and you can find them by searching the Million Man March and the 8 steps to atonement.
All righty. I know that there was a hand up.
Niamo's hand was up.
Yes. So Niamo, you want to share still?
Oh, I love it so much. Thank you so much. I put it in the chat that this sojourn of releasing ourselves from this emotional clutch or slavery that this presentation has embarked on, and that Althea and others have, brought us the libation of tears from or through, is just perfect for where we are as a people, because we have in our history and among our ancestors rituals that guide us in our sexual behavior. That is also what we lost. How to transition from non-sexual children to sexualized human beings in our most intimate relationships. And so Facing Mount Kenya by Jomo Kenyatta gives us a hint about what is possible. And so I want everybody to read that and just keep looking. I also want to say that the reason I chose right hand is because of the right side for my looking was because when I go to bed at night, all the ideas, everything seems to be in the right side of my head. And I have to force myself. I actually take time and say, okay, that's the right side. Let's just balance a little bit. And we have a tendency to want to, be right-handed. The whole society is about right. And it's the left. I appreciate your bringing it forward that the left is this side that we don't normally deal with. It can be linear. It also could be shadow. And if we look at it more so as linear, as experience, in other words, there's something there that can actually give us more light and more acceptance and more middle and more appreciation of who we are as human beings having a spiritual human experience. So I'm complete.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for that share. Nice way to start to wrap up. So family, my awesome partners in this conversation, how do you want to close out?
I feel complete. I'm
You feel
complete.
complete? All right. Anything to do to close, or we good to grow?
I may just close out with a list of Elt Middleton's mantra. Talks about the power of our story. Right. And so if everybody could repeat after me: sharpen your eyes, tune your ears, so you know what you see, overstand what you hear. Minute by minute, hour by hour, as we know our story, we know our power. Shay, peace and love,
Powerful.
family.
Jay, thank you so much. And love you, family. Thank you for your contribution. So Kenyofu and admin team, we're ready to move through the final slides and close out the session. Thank you, family.
All right. Thank you so much for your time with us today. Please know that there is support, there's a village, there's a community, there's a cadre of healers waiting to receive you. So you can reach out to Black Women's Blueprint. If you are someone who has experienced trauma, have experienced vicarious trauma, right? A sister counselor or a liberation therapist at Black Women's Blueprint can offer you therapeutic services for free. So contact the hotline at 646-647-5414, or you can also email counseling@blueprintny.org for those free services. So again, you can reach Black Women's Blueprint. If you are looking for services to support you, this is for women, for sisters only. So please do reach out and let us know what you need. We're here to support you. You can also reach me directly on Facebook, my first and last name, Sevonna Brown. You can reach me on Instagram at Sevonna or at Sanctuary Medicine. And you can email me. Come to the website, blackwomensblueprint.org, or just send me an email. I'm happy to connect with you and talk with you after this.
Okay, family, please know that every Saturday, this is specifically speaking to the brothers, we have Aquaban Brotherhood Cipher, where we have an opportunity to look at our lives from the lens of initiation and look at some of these thresholds that need to be crossed, particularly as an invitation to experiencing our vulnerability, an invitation to designing plans of actions and taking steps towards self-actualization, right? And so here's our meeting ID number, and we also will be able to share the link. And you can contact me at the, you can go to the next slide, please.
Brother Kamau, I just want to confirm that it's on the 11th of September, right?
Yes, it's going to be Saturday the 11th, and every Saturday after. We're Saturday 10 a.m. sharp.
Gotcha.
Right. And you can contact me at my Facebook, Kamau Ptah, or Twitter at Jimbei69. And my email is aquaban41@gmail.com. And also for website, aquabanenterprise.com.
And in addition to the group happening on Saturday, there's another group happening. It's going to be September 24th, which I believe falls on a Friday evening. This is with Connect NYC. They do a lot of good work around supporting men and boys, reducing domestic violence in our communities. It's open to the public, free to come. Please invite the men and boys in your life that you want to see changed in this way. So this is a roundtable as well, sponsored by Connect NYC. In addition to that, you can find me primarily on Instagram at the Running River Collective. We do weekly to daily meditations. We focus on highlighting light workers and healers of color. So if you want to get involved, please let me know. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me from one of these channels.
Alrighty, family. So just knowing what would come up during this session today, what I was led to do was to create a conversation post session that will happen on Friday. And I think that's September 10th. The 11th, if I'm not mistaken, is Saturday. So sorry about that. It's the 10th, actually, Friday the 10th from 11 to 12 on Zoom. And you can register here under bit.ly/woo ritual release so we can continue to release, see what, has bubbled up. But you definitely need to register for it. So I'll know how many people will be in the space. And for me, it's not about a huge crowd of people. It's just about creating the space for us to continue moving this energy that we carry in our bodies and allowing our shadow selves to be seen and heard and felt. They're not wrong. They're a part of us. So please do join me if you so choose on Friday morning. And this is my contact information, my contact number. You can find me on Facebook as Shawnee Benton Gibson and Instagram as Shawnee the Healer. And my email address is so is like spirit of a woman. So SOW leadership development @gmail.com. Look forward to hearing from you. And Sevonna, it's your turn, my love.
We're grateful for love offerings and donations. You can Zelle, QuickPay this team at SOW leadership development @gmail.com, or you can Cash App Spirit of a Woman. And the code for this session to support Kamau, Quazzy, Shawnee, and myself is 408RRR, 408RRR. So please do send your love offerings, send your donations. Shawnee always reminds us money is energy, right? So if you felt something, you were moved today, please do give and share and support each of our individual work and the continued work of the community.
What I'm led to add too is we are dismantling patriarchy. We're transforming the state of affairs so we can heal. So let this energy flow in the form of money, create the space to do that. Put money out so that we can, continue. Somebody just put in amazing work so we can continue our amazing work.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. We're very excited about upcoming sessions. Join us on Wednesday, September 8th for the Rona What We Gonna Do Part 2, facilitated by Dr. Danette Bean and Dr. Bashara Wilson. Super excited for that duo. And then join us Thursday, September 9th for our very own Dr. Sherilyn Amal Muhammad, Spiritual Circle of Healing. We're really excited for that facilitation, which is going to really carry us forward from today's conversation. So we'll see you on Wednesday and Thursday this week.
All right, so I'm sure there's some new members in this space. I love this part because then I get to see how we're expanding and growing. If you're new and in the space, drop the message in the chat. Just say I'm new, or it's me, or first time, or something like that. Whether you are here in Zoom or in the Facebook community, just let us know that you're new so you can get acknowledged by your community, sister and brothers, and come back. So we're here 5 days a week on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Those are our long days from 7 to 8:30 in the morning, and our short days on Monday and Wednesday from 7 to 7:30. We're always on Zoom and streaming live on Facebook. So if you want to get reminded via text every morning that we're here, then you can open up your text right now and type in 74121 right in the to section. Instead of putting a name, you put a number. And then in the comment section, you would write Woo Nation and then press send. That's it. So you'll get, so your notification, your message, your request will go to automated system, and the system will put your name, your number inside of the process, and you will get reminded. So we have swag for you. We got sweatshirts and t-shirts and masks, as well as mug and thermos. So you can go to bit.ly/WooSwag to get yours. And we ask that you stay in touch, and you do that by signing up every week to register so that you can get the emails mailed directly to you, sharing the information about who's the weekly lineup, who's presenting, and what their background is. And there's the link is also in there. So do that. You need to do that every week. If you're new, do that for the first time. If you've been here for a while, you do that. You do it every week. We have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. So this link will get you into Facebook group. Facebook group is where the entire community is, and our facilitators will drop a workshop or a special offer in there. So if you're in the group, you can get this information. You can also chat with each other, and you can also watch the replay. And you would have to request the admittance into this private group. Instagram and YouTube, you can check out the links here, and we're developing those out as we speak. You can also check in with us via our email, info.wakeupseries@gmail.com, and you'll be able to say whatever there is to say. I'm asking you all on mute, and
Thank you.
Thank you, family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madasi.
Well done. Thank you.
so much for
Madasi,
this.
Madasi.
Thank you for this day. This is great. This is phenomenal.
Shukran, alhamdulillah.
Thank you,
Thank you for
everybody.
this conversation.
Healing.
Many blessings. Thank you for blessing us to unpack it, see, reflect, and go deeper and heal. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings. Tight team.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Much love, family.
It was a shock to submit areas that I thank y'all for giving me that
Peace to the family.
Thank you.
Nadasi Ba.
Thank you for bringing us. It hurts, but it's true, and I appreciate it. Yes, thank you so much. Love y'all.
You too.
Love you.
Have a great day.
Wow.